now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Give in to temptation and pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal romance. Get The Temptation of John Haynes in paperback and e-readers today. In a previous video, I talked about how this so-called rapper, Diamond the Body, wanted to tell black men what type of job he should have.
Here's a list of jobs that men should not do, especially grown-ass men, okay? For one, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's. Matter of fact, any fast food restaurant, if you think that you're a grown-ass man working in a fast food restaurant is okay, something is wrong with you, all right? Leave those jobs to the teenagers. My nephew can't even get a job right now because there's some grown-ass men in his goddamn 40s flipping my goddamn burger. Okay? Let it go. Leave it alone. That job is not for you. Anything in retail, okay? I don't want to see no grown-ass man handing me a dress, okay? Why are you a grown-ass man working at Ross? That makes absolutely no sense, okay? Target, Marshalls, like, guys, give it up. Leave these jobs to the kids. Leave these jobs to the teenagers. These are jobs you get in high school, in college. But once you're a grown-ass man, you do not need to be working in any fast food restaurant or any retail restaurant. And for you high-value men that think that it's high value to work for the city, let me tell you something. You're absolutely wrong, all right? No police officers, no firefighters, no construction workers, no mailmen, no post office. If you consider that a high value man, you're absolutely wrong, okay? There's nothing high value about making $70,000 a year. You men that think working for the city is high value.
Now, according to Diamond the Body, a black man should not be working in places like fast food or places like retail or even working jobs in construction or working jobs such as the post office or working for the city. Now, according to Diamond the Body, these black men who have these jobs are considered to be ones who are not grown men because, in her delusional eyes, a black man should be working in an executive position, making six figures, in order to be considered for a relationship with her. Now, when I listened to Diamond the Body's video, it basically made me shake my head because it's clear to me that she does not understand the racism that black men deal with when we are out here looking for work. Now, as somebody who has a college degree in business and even has over a decade of experience running his own business, I can tell you from personal experience that the job market is extremely hostile to heterosexual black men. And because the job market is extremely hostile towards heterosexual black men, a lot of times, if we are working in jobs like fast food or retail or even working jobs that like those in construction or working jobs for places like the city government or the post office, a lot of times it is not because we want those jobs, but we have to take what we can get. And a lot of times we have to take what we can get because, one, we can only apply for the jobs where the information is available, and two, we can only apply for the jobs that will take us for that position. That is the main reason why you will see a brother possibly working a job like retail or fast food, or even working in higher level jobs as we see it, like the post office or the city, because those are the only kinds of jobs we can get. Now, this is a problem we've had ever since the days of the emancipation of black people, where black men oftentimes ran into discrimination in the North and we ran into racism in the South. And because of this, black men were oftentimes underemployed, and we were underemployed because many of the racists did not want to hire us for the jobs that we are clearly qualified for. And a lot of times they don't want to hire the black man for that job that he's qualified for because they want to participate in economic oppression. They don't want the black man to have economic power to be able to control his household, and they don't want the black man to have economic power to be able to set tone and direction for his community. Moreover, they don't want the black man in a job because having a black man in that job represents competition, and many of those who participate and support the system of white supremacy, they want to be able to continue receiving the goodies, giveaways, and other sorts of perks they receive under the system of white supremacy. And having a black man in a job basically makes it where these people feel insecure because they actually would have to step up and compete. And that's why it's hard for a black man to find a job that meets his actual qualifications, and he has to settle for jobs that are far beneath his qualifications. So when you have somebody like Diamond the Body going out and saying, oh, this black man, he's not a grown man, she really does not understand the struggles that black men go through in the job market, and she doesn't understand how hard it is for black men to find full-time employment, because with most black men like myself, when it comes to the job market, we run into a lot of obstacles, and the first of those obstacles is just even finding the information for a job. That's something that has been cut off from us because we don't have the network that many of the whites and non-blacks have. Now, when it comes to the whites and the non-blacks, they have networks where they tell each other about jobs, but in the black community, what we have are a lot of bootlegs and turncoats who are working at these jobs, and they don't want to see another black person at that job because they want to be the H nice or the token, and they don't want competition for this unwritten position in these jobs as related to the system of white supremacy. And because they don't want any competition, they won't tell a qualified individual like myself about a job. What they will do is keep that information close to the vest, or in some cases they will tell another white or non-black about that job, but they won't tell another black man about that job, and that keeps a lot of black men from being able to access those jobs. And because we can't get the information from those kind of educated brothers and sisters, what they do is keep us out of the jobs. And a lot of times the only jobs that have the information readily available on places like Indeed or places like in the newspaper are these fast food and retail jobs. And even then, it's a bit of a challenge to even get those jobs. Now, we can go out and apply for those jobs, and I've applied for a lot of those jobs in the last 15 years since I lost my job at City College in 2008. And I've applied at places like Best Buy 10 times. I've applied at Target 10 times in my old neighborhood, applied at Target at 10 times in my new neighborhood, applied at places like Walgreens, applied at places even like McDonald's once. And even if you apply for these jobs, you may never hear from any of these people. And in some cases, you will never hear from them ever in your life. And that's even after applying multiple times. And that is something that makes it very hard for black men. We can put in the applications for these jobs, but we won't hear anything. And because it's so hard to hear back from anyone, whenever we do hear from someone, what we do is go and take whatever job we can find, because it's next to impossible for us to get any response from any of these employers. So sometimes we'll apply for one of these jobs, and sometimes these employers may take months and even years to respond to us. And a lot of these women like this Diamond the Body, they don't understand how long it takes to even get a response back from these employers. You can put in an application for one of these jobs like 1 year or so, and you will never hear a response until a year later. And in other cases, you will hear a response basically in a couple of hours rejecting your application. And you've got to keep trying to keep in these applications. So a lot of times when we get these opportunities, again, they're very rare, and that's why you see that brother flipping the burgers at the Wendy's, or he's working in retail at a place like Burlington, stocking the shelf. That's the only job he can find at this point, because it's hard to get the actual information for applying for these jobs, and even harder to get the responses from the people at these businesses. And it's even harder to get the interview, because sometimes when you even get the interview, many of these employers, they're just not they're going through the motions, especially when it comes to black men. When it comes to a black man, they will go through the motions. You're out here investing your time and your money hoping that this will be a break, but it's not a break at all. And that's something that people like Diamond the Body don't understand. They don't understand that for that black man, this is the only opportunity that's in front of him, and he's got to take it, because that's all he can get at this point. If when it comes to jobs and black men, it's next to impossible to even get the interview in a lot of cases. I mean, a lot of times, again, over the last 15 years, I've put in the applications, but then nobody calls back, and the time period for the application will end, and I got to put in the application again. And I've put in applications again multiple times for these jobs like stock, these jobs like being the cashier, these jobs all over the place. And again, put these applications in just to get the pocket money to have in order to be able to go and to find another job and get the experience for another job. And a lot of times when you see guys out here, they're out here applying for these jobs because this is all they can get and all the information they can get. So she's sitting here thinking, oh, a grown man is out here wanting to apply for these jobs. He's applying for them because it's the only thing he can get. And a lot of times he's grateful because at least he has some money, and even that's better than no money at all. So when I listen to her sitting there demeaning men for having a certain job, again, she doesn't understand what a job means to a heterosexual black man and how rare an opportunity it is to get one, and even harder to keep one, because once you get past the HR brick wall of women who, on the interview, who basically are looking to speak against you and looking for any reason to get rid of you because they're projecting all of their feelings about their boyfriend onto you, that you don't understand how hard it is in these interviews for a black man when he's at these interviews. Again, I'm putting on Brooks Brothers clothes and coming in professional, but I'm dealing with women in HR like this woman, Diamond the Body, who will dismiss everything that I present as related to my experience, and looking for ways to get me out of that job as related to being considered. And that's what they're doing again at the HR process, and that's what also is very hard for a black man. You're trying to get this interview, and this woman is dismissing you, trying to project all of her anger at you that she has for Pookie and Ray Ray, and also looking to try to eliminate you as competition because she feels uncomfortable about a black man being a direct competitor to her. So that's why you don't see a lot of black men in a lot of these jobs higher up, because you've got a lot of black women in these jobs and a lot of whites and non-blacks in these jobs. And again, they don't want that black man there to be direct competition to them. So that's how hard it is for that black man with the interview process. And even if he gets that rare chance to even get that job, he's got to deal with a hostile environment where people are looking to try to get him out of that job, just as he got in, while all these other people, these whites, these non-blacks, and even black women and white women, they get accommodated on the job, they are welcomed on the job, but a black man is not welcome on that job. And when he walks into that job, he's basically walking behind enemy lines. And this is even for a low level job like retail or a low level job like flipping the burgers, he is basically seen as an enemy and an adversary. And because he's seen as an enemy and an adversary, when he enters that job market, he's basically trying to count down the days at that job that before it is his last, because he knows he's not going to be there for an extended period of time, and he can't even think about being considered to be there for an extended period of time, because everybody there is looking to get him out of that job because they want their smooth world. And because they want their smooth world where they can feel comfortable in that world without having to deal with a black man, what that black man does is he's basically got to come up with a plan of survival. So when he's on that job, he basically understands any day on that job could be his last. So when he goes on that job, whether it be a low level retail or a fast food job, he's just trying to make whatever he can because he's fighting for his survival. But that flies over the head of someone like a Diamond the Body, who never understood what the struggles of black men were because she possibly never had a father in her life to show her how hard it is for a black man on these jobs by coming home every day. Because usually the kind of woman who makes these statements about black men on the job and having a certain kind of job, usually if they're making these kind of statements, it's because there's no father in their lives. And because there's no father in their lives to show her the racism a black man goes through as he's trying to look for work, trying to get the interview, trying to get through the interview, and even trying to work at a job, there is no man there to show her how manhood works as related to the job market with black men, or show her the struggles that a black man goes through. So she's sitting here talking about, oh, these black men aren't grown men because they are working fast food or working retail or working construction or the post office. And it shows me she has no understanding of how real life works for black men because, again, a lot of black men like myself who are college educated, we want to work the kind of jobs we are qualified for. However, in the system of white supremacy and all of the racism we run into in the job market, what we have to do is take whatever we can get in order to keep some money in our pocket. We have to take these kind of jobs, not because we want these jobs, but sometimes it's the only way we can get a door open, and oftentimes it's hard to get that door open because everybody has slammed the door shut, because you will get these whites who will get these jobs and they will project their stereotypes onto black men. You will get these non-blacks and foreigners who will come with their own prejudices and racist views about black men. You will even get white women and black women who will have their own prejudices against black men. And a lot of them think, oh, the black man, from all of the racist narratives that have been presented since the Jim Crow South and even then, during slavery, the idea that the black man is lazy, the idea that the black man is shiftless, the idea that the black man does nothing on the job, and many of them thinking that the black man's values of his work is worth less than everybody else's. That's what I have run into as I have put in applications, and I've even had people tell me that, oh, you should volunteer. But I find that to be quite discriminatory because you'll tell the black man to volunteer to be able to have somebody vouch for his work. However, a migrant who enters this country illegally, this person is offered labor and offered compensation for his labor, but the heterosexual black man, you need to get his work for free in order to vouch for it. And again, this is the type of racism that black men run into on the job market that has them being forced to take low-level jobs because we run into people who don't value the labor of heterosexual black men. And because we don't run into people who value our labor, it's oftentimes this is why so many brothers are underemployed and unemployed, or in some cases, like me, forced to start their own businesses. Because when you're out here, you're trying to work for people, you're trying to get those opportunities, but nobody wants to give you those opportunities. No, they will give a grossly unqualified white or a non black person, or even a white female or a black female, a job, but they won't go and get the competent, qualified black man to work for them. And you'll have people like Diamond the Body saying, oh, that grown man shouldn't be working in that job. Well, she don't understand the struggles of a black man in this job market. She don't understand what a black man goes through as related to the discrimination we run into in the workforce. She doesn't understand that we could go out here and have a clean record and still be blown off by females who work in HR, where you say, oh, you did volunteer work, and they blow it off like I had when I was going to a CUNY hiring pool in 2008. This black woman basically discounted all my work and said it had no value. And you'll have people who will go out here and mock your degree, saying, oh, you went to such and such college instead of such and such university. I mean, this is the type of disrespect that black men who are educated go through. And this is the type of thing that makes it where it's hard for a black man to find work. And it's the thing that basically makes it where it's frustrating for us. And even when we get on the job and we're trying to bring our best work to the table, we're the ones who get disrespected at the job by supervisors and coworkers, and we then go outside and get disrespected by women like Diamond the Body, who want to say that the black man's work has no value unless he's some sort of executive, and say he's got to be some sort of executive basically because, again, no father is in her life to show her how men work and show her how a man operates. No, she has no father there to show her how a man works. And because she has no father there to show her how a man works, she's buying into ideas presented to her from institutions like Madison Avenue and Hollywood, and buying into ideas from these movies, TV shows, and these romance novels and romantic comedy movies, ideas that are scripted entertainment but not real life, because in real life, a black man, when he's out here, he works where he can work because he has to take all of the jobs that nobody usually wants. You'll oftentimes hear a lot of people say, oh, the migrants take all the jobs nobody wants. No, that's not true at all. What happens in many cases is that the racists, what they will do is use the migrants as a buffer, hire them to avoid hiring black people, and especially to avoid hiring heterosexual black men. And heterosexual black men, we have to go out and take the jobs we can find, because that we have to take whatever is available, because no one wants to hire us. No, they have projected all of these stereotypes onto black men, saying, oh, black men are lazy, black men don't work as hard, black men don't really do very good work. Again, these are the stereotypes that are projected, but you'll see many of these other individuals, they can be as lazy as they want, they can be late, they can make mistakes, and it's okay. But if a black man makes one mistake or is like 1/10 of a second late, they want to fire him and destroy his entire life. And that's what everybody doesn't understand. Again, a black man, he wants to choose a job, but a lot of times he doesn't have many choices because of the lack of information or the lack of opportunities. And that's why it's very hard out here for him. And it's just very, very troubling to hear her, someone like Diamond, the bust down, sit there and say, oh, a black man should have a certain kind of job. Well, that would be nice if you could get that opportunity. If you can get that opportunity, yeah, you can say, okay, he can have that kind of job. But for a lot of times, brothers take the jobs they can get and try to make the best living they can make with whatever money they can make, whenever they can make it, because we are only in the job market for a limited time. Because what happens is people, they get upset because, oh, the deli didn't have the dark roast coffee, or they ran out of onion bagels, so they're going to take it out on that black man. Or the wife was nagging him about something, some sort of thing that she wanted her to buy him. So because he's upset about his wife getting in his face, he wants to take it out on the black man, and that's why black men have it hard in the job market. And I even remember sometimes I would even go out here and apply for jobs, and sometimes you would apply for, like I applied once for the post office, thought I had the job, but nobody ever got back to me. And that's the type of breaks that black men we run into in this job market. We want to work, and again, we would love to work those positions that make the far better money, and a lot of us are qualified to do it. But what happens is we run into this racism in this job market. We run into hostile employers who really don't want us there. And as we run into these employers who don't want us there, this is the reason why you'll see that black man who possibly is very well educated and highly intelligent working at the fast food spot, while you'll see that black man working at the retail, stocking the shelves. A lot of times those brothers are there not because they want to be there, but they're there because that's all they could get. I mean, I remember graduating college, and it was so hard. I graduated in 94, and it took me 2 years to get a job at a supermarket in 96, because if you don't have the information to get that job, it's hard to get one out there. And sometimes you have to take whatever you can get. You have to take what you can get until you can get somebody to give you that opportunity. And oftentimes what these employers will do is give Pookie and Ray Ray the opportunity, watch them screw up. Meanwhile, the quality brother is waiting in the back trying to get that job legitimately, but can't get that job legitimately because they've projected all these racist ideas onto that black man. So I know about the struggles of a black man in the job market, and I know that while a lot of people want to tell us where we should work, the whole thing is when we go to look to lead ourselves and try to get the jobs we're qualified for, what happens is you run into women like Diamond the Body who are in HR, and they speak bad on a black man as he's looking for work. Again, sits there, disrespects the black man looking for work, hoping to look for a high value man at the job or in one of these companies, not understanding these men are built and they have to start at the bottom. This is what they don't understand, but they'll sit there and get mad and say, oh, there's no good black men. No, you ran him out of the office of the job he was applying for because you wanted to have this guy who was charming, like the ones you see in the movies, not understanding that when a man goes to work, it's all serious business. That's what they don't understand. And as I was listening to that video clip, it just made me look at it and go, yeah, this woman doesn't know how it works for a man in the job market, doesn't know how a man works, never possibly saw her father go to work, because when I listen to her statements, they sound just like the girls from single mother households I went to Park West High School with, and sounds like the same dysfunction mindset that they had, where they didn't understand how a man works in this world. Because if you understand how men work in this world, you understand that a man, he has to go where he can go, especially if he's a black man. A black man doesn't have much choice. And again, no different than what happened to many black men during the days of the Jim Crow era, where black men had to take jobs as Pullman porters and janitors, even if they had college degrees. A lot of those dudes had to take those jobs because they provided them enough money to feed their families, and they had to take those jobs because it was all they could get. But a so-called entertainer like Diamond the Body, who has 2,000 bodies on her, wants to tell us how we should work. And again, it doesn't work like that, because the world works differently for a black man than it does a black woman or anybody else in this world. And because the world works differently for a black man than anybody else in this world, it's a completely different experience, and it's one that everybody needs to understand. If you see that brother at that job, go out here and show him some respect. because that man is showing the character to try to build up his life. That brother's trying to get himself together, and that brother needs all the encouragement and support that's out here from other brothers. You have to understand where that brother is coming from. He's trying to get back up on his feet. You may see that 40-year-old black man working that job, and he's working because, again, that's the all he could get. And while this woman wants to say, oh, the teenagers should have those jobs, no, what they'll do is give that to an adult migrant, and this spellbound individual, what they will do is say, oh, that's okay for that person to have a job. That's why the teenager can't get that job. But that black man, he's taking that job because it's the best he can do. And if he could get a better opportunity, I guarantee you he would take it, because I know if I were to get one of those opportunities, I would take it, and I would work that job until retirement or even past retirement age, because I've been trying to get myself together after I lost my job in 2008. I've been working on my SJS Direct and my YouTube and other things, and I know how hard it is. But when I hear somebody talking about, oh, this woman is saying, oh, you should have a certain kind of job, well, a lot of these black men would have those jobs if it wasn't for the racists and their bootlicks and all of these other people. Those black men would be in these kind of jobs, and I wouldn't knock the city because that's a high level job, that's a high value job. And again, it's like my late father used to say, a little something is better than nothing. And for a lot of dudes, they would rather take a little something in a legit job than be sitting up there being nothing on their mother's sofa or in their girlfriend's house. And we should appreciate that this black man has a job, because if he's out here working, at least he's making his own money. He's making his own money legit. He's trying to get himself together. And what we need to do is support those brothers until they can stand up on their feet and be the actualized men that they aspire to be. Now, if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, you can find the books in the ISIS series, the Steam series, the John Haynes series, my novels like The Temptation of John Haynes, A Recipe for Success, the Spinsterella trilogy, the Thetas, and my vampire novel, Eternal Night. You can find all of those books on Amazon.com from my SJS Direct imprint in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find those books at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, Google Play, and Barnes & Noble. And if you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can send a donation to my Patreon, my PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Illuminati. The man who rules the world takes on the head of the global elite in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes, Illuminati on Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Now available for the first time in paperback. Stop Simping in the Workplace. Men, learn what you need to know in order to protect your job from workplace predators with Stop Simping in the Workplace. Available in paperback at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.